Hey guys, it's Allie with Allie Answers. I hope that you're having a fantastic day. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, welcome. And if you've watched before or you're a regular subscriber, welcome back. If you haven't yet subscribed, I hope that you will. Click the little button. It means that you will be notified whenever I upload. So let's talk about something that can be a little uncomfortable for people like me. I grew up in a family where we really didn't talk about money. Other than the fact that we didn't have any, they would not talk about it. So I am not from a Dave Ramsey type family where we sat around the table at dinner and talked about our budget. My parents did not open up their ledgers and talk about the money that they had. And so if you're like me, that means that you understand that money is a difficult thing to talk about in a family like that. So if you are from a family where it's an open door policy, you know how much money your parents have, that is amazing. I hope that you will share your tips and tricks on how you got there in the comments below. It is hard sometimes to have the conversation, but let me tell you, it is very important in today's world that we have a grip of what's going on. When I was in college, one of my friend's grandmothers got scammed out of a bunch of money, and he was so angry. He went to visit her, and her guest room was full of these little positive ionizer things, and they probably cost $1 from China, and she had spent a ton of money, and they were in boxes from the floor to the ceiling. Somehow, this guy had called her and convinced her that she could make a ton of money if she purchased them, and I guess she was supposed to resell them. So scams have changed a lot over the years. That was a couple moons ago. Now we have different kind of scams happening. Even 10 or 15 years ago, we started to see scams where people were going into people's accounts and doing automatic drafts and taking money out on a monthly basis. And sometimes it would even be a small amount so that if a loved one was paying attention, they might not notice $50 or $100 here and there if the person had enough money in the account. Obviously, if you don't have a ton of money, $100 is a lot. But if you have a large balance, $100 here and there might get missed. Or you would see the traditional scam of the travelers that come through and, paint the driveway black and say it's been blacktopped, or go on the roof and bang around and say that they repaired the roof and take money. So obviously those are scams that have been around for a long time. As you may be aware, there are very intricate scams now, and it is a multi-million-dollar business. It is no longer just some random guy trying to take money from your loved one. It is now a business of evil people that want to take your money and the money of the people that you love. And it is so important that we have this conversation about money. Trust me, I get it. It's uncomfortable, but it is important. I recently had a friend who's middle-aged. She's not a senior. She is not cognitively impaired at all. And she was involved in a scam that lasted through an entire weekend. It was so intricate and involved and well done from the point of the scammers, and they took over $11,000 from a very smart lady. These people had so many details planned out. They even had a phone number that they were calling from that matched the FBI phone number on Google. These guys were good. This was high-tech scamming. And they had this woman nervous and upset and scared that she was going to be in trouble. And they had police calling her, and they had the IRS calling her. And it was very intricate. My point is, there are scams out there that can fool anyone, including my smart friends. That means that it is easier than ever to fool the people that you love and that you worry about. So let's talk about some of the ways that you can protect your loved one from scams. Number one is to be on the accounts if you can be. If they will allow you to be on the checking account, be on the IRAs and things like that, you want to be watching what's going on, and you cannot do it effectively in past tense. Today's world is very quick. If you are waiting and looking at statements 45 days after something has happened, it's too late, guys. It's too late. We need to be on accounts with our loved ones if we are worried at all about this type of thing happening to them. Number 2 is a paid for system like LifeLock. It's not a commercial for LifeLock. I just happen to have an account with them, and they will keep an eye on things and alert you if there's any unusual activity or large amounts of withdrawals, things that don't seem right, or if they are notified of a breach of security, if your loved one's information or your information has been released to the public. Third, you can actually freeze your loved one's accounts. You can call all 3 credit bureaus and freeze accounts, meaning that no one can go in and open a new credit card under your loved one's name. And that's probably a good idea if you don't have any reason to be getting loans, opening credit cards, things like that. That is a great way to protect yourself. It's free. It's just the pain and trouble of making those phone calls. Number 4, I'm going to say, it is very important to sit down and have a conversation about the scams that are happening. We don't want to live in fear, and we don't want our loved ones to live in fear, but we do want them to understand that they can never give information over the phone to anyone. If your loved one is able to handle their own money, then they should be able to handle the information that there are people out there that are out to get them. No one wants to live in fear, but people need to understand that you cannot trust caller ID, that you cannot trust if someone calls you and says that you're going to be in trouble with the law because someone stole your information and they're spending money in Texas and you have to prove that you're not in Texas. People need to understand how complicated these scams are and what's happening out there. So if your loved one is able to handle their own finances, you need to have that conversation with them and get into the details of these things that are happening. Depending on your loved one, I know, for example, my dad loves to read things. So maybe for him, I would pull an article offline that showed what some of the common scams are and email it to him, because in his case, that's how he receives information. In my mom's case, she really does better with conversations and stories and maybe explaining what happened to my friend. You know your loved one and you know how to get through to them. If they are unable to understand what you're explaining to them, in today's world, it's my opinion that they are no longer capable of handling their finances by themselves. Number 5 is to use a daily money manager or an asset manager. Depending on where you live, it might be called something different, but there are care management type companies out there that will handle daily money management and keep an eye on your loved one's account. So if you're one of those people that you don't want to be part of it, you can't be part of it, you have too much other stuff going on, you can actually set it up so that someone else is paying the bills for your loved one, checking for scams, and alerting you. So this is a more personal way of maybe using something like LifeLock. You can make sure that the electric bill, the phone bill, all those things are getting paid so that your loved one has everything that you need. You might be surprised how affordable it is. And when you consider the cost of not doing something like that and how they can drain your loved one's account like that, that's important to consider. Anytime that you can sign up for alerts or monitoring inside individual accounts, for example, with a credit card company or with the bank, I highly recommend that you do that as well. We need to be aware of the fact that there is a multi-million-dollar industry out there that wants to take your loved one's money. And guess what? Your loved one needs it. Your loved one needs it for taking care of them physically, emotionally, mentally, all the things. So we've got to protect one another, and that includes protecting our elders. I would love to know how you protect your elders in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.